So you finally have enough global experience, huh? Today I'm going to go through the store and tell you exactly what to buy for your global. Now, trust me, I get it. I don't have premium. Global's hard to come by. Bear in mind, I have a lot of ships and I know what I like to play, so there's certain things I'm going to pass up on. There's certain things that I've played the game for so long that a lot of these GXP ships I've ended up getting out of crates, free crates. But you want to spend your global and you don't want to get a ship that's not the right one. So what do? Sure, you can go look up videos and how to play these different ships and try and spend 2 hours of your life trying to find what other people think about these boats, and I'm just going to give you the cold hard facts as it is. My skill, your skill, doesn't matter. I'm just going to tell you exactly how it is, the global ships that are out there, and I'll tell you what I would pick that would have the most battle impact. Maybe you don't play like that, maybe you want to learn, whatever. So let's run through it, shall we? Okay, the first one we're coming up on, we're just going to go right through USA, Japan, UK. We'll go through it all. Mass, and the side note, Alabama. Okay, bear in mind these are two almost identical ships. Almost. They're not quite. Almost identical. They're different in the way that the Mass has more secondaries. Okay, it's got longer range secondaries. You could do a secondary build. You sacrifice a couple things by doing that. Whereas Alabama is kind of the opposite. It's the same platform. It's got a little faster turret traverse, which is pretty nice to have, and it's got a little faster rudder, which is nice to have. That being said, you can build Mass to be just like Alabama. You won't have quite the same accuracy. Okay? Alabama is one of the most accurate ships in the game. It doesn't have the Iowa guns. It's got a 45 cal variant. They're still 16-inch, and they still hit like a freight train, but they're a little bit slower. You might be thinking to yourself, well, Massachusetts, I like secondaries. Secondaries are kind of useless. Okay, they're not the main point of damage. They're kind of fun to listen fire off. They can get broken. I know a lot of people that run a secondary build Mass. I have two Massachusetts. I've got the original here, and I've got the B version, and I run both. I don't play the secondary version that often. I get more gratification out of winning matches than I do inflicting chaos, which is what secondaries do. They light people on fire. They annoy people. That's not really my ballgame. Between the two, if I picked, I would have to pick Alabama, but don't think Mass isn't almost just as good. Because like I said, you can build Alabama with the same, or actually, sorry, you can build Mass with the same build as Alabama, and Mass is still really accurate. But you have the ability to throw on a secondary build if you'd like. Now, as far as Japan goes, do I think the high 8 for 1.4 is worth it? Absolutely not. That is so much global, and you're not really getting anything crazy good. Okay, so I would pass on the high 8 if you're a DD guy and you like DDs. I would pass on that. Udachi is the, how would I say this? The perfect IGN ship. I mean, when it came into the game, it broke the game. Torpedo reload booster, disgusting concealment, decent guns. If you like that kind of play style, look no farther than the Udachi, because that's like almost your pinnacle. That being said, everything else in here I'd forget except one or two things here. Atago and Suzy. Now, Atago is a little bit different in the fact that it's got bigger caliber, longer reload. Suzy has more of the smaller caliber, more shells, quicker reload. Unfortunately, you won't be able to access the AL Atago Commander because reasons. AL Atago makes both these ships a lot better. Well, marginally better, but marginally in this game is actually quite a lot. You got to realize these are both fire spammers. They both do the job very, very well. I would, however, prefer Suzuya, especially if you don't have AL Atago. And let me tell you why. Suzuya, like with refill, like 19.5 range, outrange a lot of battleships in the game at tier 7. Number 2, it's got a really high fire chance. Number 3, the amount of shells you throw every full salvo is ungodly. Number 4, if you can't get into that position where you're behind the rock and you're full salvoing, go watch the video I just made about how to shoot around the corner. And Suzuya can do that with the front 3 guns. I think it's like a 6.7 reload or something around there. And you can fire 3, 6, 9 shells every 6 seconds or so around the corner with a really high fire chance. And there's not many things in the game that can withstand being bombarded by a Suzuya. Certainly not battleships. So if you're looking to pick between Suzuya and Atago, I always go Suzuya. It's a great ship. It's an extreme moneymaker. Throw some flags on there and you will be drenched in silver in no time. Even mediocre games, if you've got a 3x flag on there for credits, it'll be a, 600,000-700,000 silver game. If you have a big game in Suzuya, you could totally hit 1,000,000 plus credits. That's for a big game, but even the average game, Suzuya makes bank. The UK is pretty lackluster here. It just is. I mean, you've only got one thing available, and it's the Monarch. Now, I don't know if Wargaming ever fixed the problem with the armor, because they did something with the turret armor, the Citadel armor, and they ruined all the UK battleships. Don't know if they ever fixed it. I was hearing that they couldn't fix it. If you're looking to do this kind of thing, which these are lightly armored battleships that throw HE, it just is. Don't know why, but it is. My opinion, save your 750k global from Monarch here, go down to tier 6 and play the King George. That's just my opinion. You'll have the exact same outcome, and you won't have to spend your very hard-earned global XP just to be disappointed in the long run. Now, on to Germany. And here lies one of the only ships that I would actually consider the humongous global XP price. Elbing. Technically, Elbing is the most accurate ship in the game, and don't ask me why, but the Elbing AP is very special in the fact that you can throw AP 10, 11, 12 kilometers, and you can Citadel cruisers. So you can have concealment of a destroyer, you can get around behind people, get around on the side of people, you can throw torps at them all day. But if they ever give you the opportunity to throw AP, you can sting people. Like, you can seriously sting them. Cruisers that are just unaware of your presence over here and you're on the side, as long as they're spotted, you can pop a smoke and just ruin them. You can ruin battleships. And that being said, the torps on it are pretty good too. So it's one of those things where it's a very unique ship. Bear in mind, it's the size of a building on its side. It's a very big ship. It does have some pretty decent armor. Elbing, it's a unique playstyle, but for 1.4 global, which is probably several months to multiple months or even like a year of your life playing this game, Elbing is actually something that's worth picking up. Don't expect massive games. Don't expect to be blown away by it. Initially, you have to learn how to play it, but it's certainly in the question. Odin, I would personally skip Odin. There's nothing special here. You have small caliber guns that are not very accurate. You can get it down to a short reload, and you can have moderate secondaries. You've got decent armor bow on, but you'll end up having your guns broken, and you can torpedo stuff. I mean, if it was me, I would skip Odin. Odin overall doesn't have a huge battle impact. It's not going to curve the outcome of teams. It can be very annoying, and it can be very daunting when one of these charges a flank, but he will end up dying charging that flank 9 times out of 10. I would skip it. There's nothing really special there. The only thing special about the Prince Eugen, obviously it was a real ship, right? It was a real ship and it actually sailed, so you have a little bit of the historical value there. As far as battle impact goes, Prince Eugen and Hipper are hand in hand here. Hipper is the tier 7 that you can get for free just by unlocking it. As far as battle impact goes, it's almost the exact same. Prince Eugen gets the only gimmick that Eugen has is you give up your hydro for a main battery reload booster. But the opportunities to really utilize that main battery reload booster are so far few between that it really doesn't make Prince Eugen worth it at all. So I wouldn't recommend the Prince Eugen, but if that's what you really want, you like the historical aspect, go for it. Just don't expect to blow teams out with it. France, 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 the meme. Oh boy. I call them a meme because they're kind of a meme. So the only things you have options to here, you've got Champagne, champagne, and you've got the Bourgogne. No, not Bourgogne, sorry, the Gascon. They name everything after bread. I don't understand. So the Gascon, it's very similar, unfortunately, to the Champagne. Gascon, you get more guns, but you get lower caliber. Champagne, you get less guns, you get bigger caliber. But you got to realize these two ships are completely subjected to French RNG. When it works great. But this is a rare thing where it doesn't always work, number one. And number two, you have to have the perfect team setup to utilize these two ships. Now on PC, they might work out better. Bigger maps, lower concealments, longer match timers, more opportunity to put yourself in the right position. As it stands in Legends, neither of these ships are overly effective because at the end of the day, they have to turn to fire all their guns or you're firing 3 or 4 barrels over the bow. And the simple fact is, if I fight one of these and we go head to head, right, and he just goes bow on, I'll just break your gun off your boat. Then what are you going to do? And unfortunately, these ships are very subjected to that. So keep that in mind. I've played Champagne a decent amount, and I can honestly tell you I've only had one game where Champagne had the perfect accuracy and the enemy team did exactly what needed to happen for me to just have a crazy good game in Champagne. I had like a 230k game and it was like 15 citadels. They allowed me onto the flank. They all stayed broadside. Champagne was giving me perfect accuracy. That doesn't happen every time. I actually think it's quite rare that happens. So keep that in mind in your decision making. Now we're on to Russia, and this is actually a pretty decent pick, and for multiple reasons. The only things that are here are Kutuzov and Krispy Kreme. Don't get the Krispy Kreme. We're not even going to talk about that one. That's not worth it. Save your global. Just save it. Just because you can buy it doesn't mean you should. Kutuzov is a very unique pick in the fact that you have quite a large range, pretty good DPM, and you can sit there penalty free, basically. You can pop a smoke and sit there for free. And if you actually team up with your teammate, you guys can both run fully packed. And one guy pops smoke and hydro, the next one pops smoke and hydro, and you can sit there for, I think, like 12 minutes in smoke and never be spotted. Yes, you might get torpedoed, but that's what the hydro is there for. Because it's Russian, they forgot to put rudders on their boats. It's not very maneuverable. But like I said, it's one of those rare ones where you can get into the right position and you can do a pretty decent amount of damage. And it's a credit machine too. It's tier 7. It's where you make the credits in the game now. And if you throw your flags onto Kutuzov and you even just use your own smokes and throw up like 120,000 damage game farming battleships, you can have, 600,000-700,000 in silver. So that is actually a pretty decent pick for what it is. It is limited in how it can be used. It does go pop when it gets hit broadside. Doesn't have great armor. It's got enough to do what needs to be done. Small caliber guns, don't expect the AP to do much. It does do something, but it won't do crazy stuff. And the HE's got a pretty good fire chance, and you got, 3, 6, 9, 12 barrels to fire constantly, and it's not bad. It's not bad. On to Italy. Now, the only options you have here is Roma and Paolo Emilio. And personally, I have a very strong love-hate relationship with Roma. I've had it absolutely perform brilliantly, and I've had it absolutely poop in the bed. But the verdict is out as far as Roma goes. I will give you one little caveat. Your button mapping here on the D-pad, you hit left here for damage control, you hit right for plane for the Americans. Well, the plane's actually down here. So, like, a lot of times you go to pop your plane, you'll pop your smoke. At least I do, and I'm assuming everyone else is going to do it too. We've been asking for custom button mapping since the beginning of the game. We haven't got it yet. We probably never will get it. The accuracy on Roma can be trolly at times, but it can also be disgusting at times. I think they're 15-inch barrels at tier 7, so it's on the lower side, but they're kind of a little faster, so it kind of makes up for it. Just keep all that in mind in your choice selection. It doesn't do very well bow tanking. In fact, when Roma was a campaign ship, the funnest thing to do was take any other tier 7 and aim at the guns, because you would literally blow them off the Roma and they would just be sitting there with no guns and not know what to do. Now we'll go over to Apollo Emilio, and this is just a meme ship, okay? Understand that. It's just a meme ship. It's a good time. It's a fun time. But if you're playing it seriously, you should consider other options. Because this thing has, I think, like 20 or 30k HP, disgusting armor, and a rolling smoke, and torpedoes that hit just as hard as, like, Shima. Really hard-hitting torps. Really pretty fast, too. This whole design, they call it the YOLO Emilio. YOLO! Boom, right into the enemy. Because if you do catch 2 or 3 battleships, you catch them sleeping, where you can come around a corner and YOLO them, they can't do anything about it. They're dead. It's not as prevalent that that's going to happen to you all the time. Keep that in mind. But there are definitely opportunities where you can take the YOLO Emilio, go around a corner, and you can wipe out a third of their team and all their battleships just like that. You'll probably die in the process, but it's a YOLO Emilio. You're just out there having fun. Memeing, clowning around. If you want to spend your 3, 6, 9 months of hard work, global XP, on something that's just fun, look no further. Pan-Asian. Now, this is actually one of the best destroyers at tier 7. If you're a DD guy, Lo Yang, one of the best ones in the game. And I say that only because of the combination of hydro, torpedoes, and guns. It has a disgusting hydro. I almost want to say it's like 5.5. Okay, I was wrong. Sorry, it's 5.4. So, yeah, it's extremely good. It's really strong. It is I think it's a tier 6 Benson, actually. Moved up to tier 7, given hydro, given pretty decent smoke and decent torpedoes. So if you're looking for a DD that is competitive, like if we had like a tier 7 ranked tomorrow, I think you would see a lot of competitive, okay, not like I'm talking clan battle competitive. I think you would see a lot of Lo Yangs show up because that hydro is so strong. You can pretty much go to the edge of the cap, pop your hydro, and then nothing is getting into that cap unless it's on the far edge of a big cap. So keep that in mind if you're a DD player. Lo Yang, pretty decent. Last but not least, we get to the Pan-European, and here we have another ship that is very much like the Apollo Emilio, but this is more for the gun fanatics, right? This does not have torpedoes. It does have a really good reload. The Friesland is just a gun platform. That's all it is. So you got 2 barrels in the front, 2 barrels in the back. Both turrets are 360. You can get pretty decent range, good fire chance, lots of DPM in the Friesland. If you position it correctly, you can whale on battleships. You can nuke destroyers. I mean, it's pretty strong for what it is. But at the same time, it's also very limited because you don't have torpedoes. So if a couple of battleships just want to charge, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do. Sure, you can fire your guns and whittle on them, but they're going to shoot you and take your HP. Doesn't have like a humongous hit pool to fight battleships. It does have, I think, a decent hydro. Let's go look. It's got a decent hydro. Yeah, it's got a 4-4 hydro, which is pretty decent. And it's got a pretty good smoke. 115 seconds. You can do a lot in 115 seconds. Oh, come on, back over here. But this one is mainly for the people that just really enjoy some DPM. Enjoy shooting their guns. It's not bad, though, for what it is. All right, there you go. So hopefully this helped you decide what you're going to spend your hard-earned global XP on. Again, this is my perspective, but I played the game for a really long time, and I wouldn't recommend anything that was below average. I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. If this helped, let me know. Until next time, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Peace.